Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel with yet another exciting video about urban agriculture. We are still on our topic about broiler farming, and today we shall be discussing how to feed the broiler chicken. And mainly we are dealing with feeding guidelines for 100 broiler chicks that is necessary to maximize profits. So I must say about feeding broilers is a very critical point when it comes to rearing broiler chicken, and it all starts with finding quality foods. So for a farmer who is beginning broiler farming, I would advise you do your research, get to know the companies that are making broiler foods, know the best and go for it. This information you can get from other farmers who've been doing the same business. Yeah, I would advise you go for someone who's been doing the business for some time and get the information about the companies that produce the best types of food and quality food for that matter. Because when you miss a point when selecting the type of food that you're going to be feeding your birds, here you are likely to incur huge losses because one, when feeds are not quality, birds get retarded growth. It means they will not mature within the anticipated time, and means they are going to stay with you for longer and you're meant to invest more money in them. So look for quality foods and invest in them. Then, after finding the quality foods that you're supposed to be feeding your birds on, the next thing is to provide that food in the enough quantity to your birds. Broiler chicken is supposed to feed 24 hours a day. That means it feeds during the day and it feeds during the night. So you must provide food to this bird throughout the day and throughout the night. So make sure you know that point. It's very important. The feeders must never go without food, and the same case with water. The drinkers must never go without water at any given time. So when it comes to quantity of food that you're feeding your birds with, it is also very critical. Let us look at now the mathematics of feeding 100 birds. For 100 birds, you're going to need 2 bags of starter crumbs. Remember in our previous video, we've said that birds can feed on starter crumbs or starter mash. For me, I prefer starting with starter crumbs. And if you are rearing 100 birds, you're supposed to have 2 bags of starter crumbs, which they are going to eat until when they are 21 days old or 3 weeks old. After that, you're going to change your food to finisher pellets after the 3rd week. Now they're going to eat this food from week 4 to the 6th week, and then the last 2 weeks you feed them on something called finisher mash. So we've said they take 2 bags of starter crumbs, and then they'll need 5 bags of finisher pellets. So in total your bags will need 7 bags until when they are 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, in most cases you'll have started selling your birds, and at this point you start feeding them on quality finisher mash until they are week 8. So I hope you've got the quantity of feeds that you need for your birds until they are mature. So we had discussed about water, and we said that you should supply them with clean water throughout their growing period. And then in our last video we also discussed about brooding, and you will also need some brooding equipment when you're a new farmer, you want to start your farming business, your broiler farming business, you will need, we said, food and water as the main things. And you will also need to brood your chicks, which we said we do it for around 3 weeks. And you can check our last video where we discussed how to improvise a brooder and rear happy chicks. We have that video, you can look for it. And then, so when it comes to brooding, you need several items for your brooder, and one of them is lighting. As you've said that broiler chicks need light 24 hours, it means you'll have to provide them with lighting throughout the day and throughout the night. So you need to have quality bulbs that will have adequate light. Lighting is also important because it encourages the birds to feed more. So when they see food all over, when they're able to see food well, they are able to feed well. When the light is not adequate, so most of the times the birds sleep, and when they sleep, it means they are not eating. And when they reduce their eating rate, it means also they are not going to grow as fast as they're supposed to grow. So lighting is very important to ensure that the chicks grow as required and they mature at the right age. The next thing we said is about heat. Your brooder needs to have adequate heat, and we saw in our last video, you can heat your brooder with charcoal, you can heat your brooder with electricity, you can use gas brooders to heat your brooders. So another thing you'll need for your brooder is wood shavings. Wood shavings, you use them on the floor to ensure that the floor is always dry, and you're supposed to use around 3 to 4 inches of the shavings to maximize the absorption of any liquids on the floor, and that way your brooder will remain dry for as long as it is possible. Then another important point to note is that when you plan to rear broilers, you're supposed to do them only. This means you do not have to mix your chicks with any other type of birds. No, you'll have to do broilers only. At any given time, you're supposed to have broilers in your brooder and no kienyeji chicken or any other types of bird rearing together them. This is because your birds need space. And if you decide to introduce new birds in your brooder, it means that you will not have adequate space for each and every bird that is in that brooder. Again, there is a risk of disease transmission when you rear more than one type of birds in your broiler brooder, because different birds have different diseases. So you might introduce new diseases to your broiler chicks if you decide to bring new birds into your brooder. So please note that when you're rearing broilers, strictly rear broilers only, and any other bird should be kept separate. So when it comes to spacing of your birds, the first 3 weeks, your bird is supposed to have 2 to 4 inches spaces in between your drinkers and your feeders, and at least 1 foot square for each chick. So with those measurements, it means that you're able to know, if I have 100 birds, how much brooder do I need for these birds? Of course, you don't start with the 4 inches immediately you bring your chicks in. You'll start it, you'll continue increasing your spaces until your chicks are 3 weeks old, because most of the times you need a smaller space for the heat to be adequate for your birds when they are day old, 2 days, 3 days, up to 1 week, and then you start increasing the space within your brooder, and that way you'll go up to at least 1 square foot per bird by the time they are 4 weeks. So that is basically about the feeding process of birds. For 100 birds, we've discussed the quantity of food that you need until when the birds are mature, how we feed them. And another important point to note is also about changing the foods. We said that the birds start feeding on starter crumbs, then after the 3rd week they start feeding on finisher pellets. So you do not change the food like immediately when you want to change